tag team now to Phil from Eastbourne Borough.
Good evening, everyone. I am the Senior Head of Tourism and Enterprise at the Council. Eastbourne Council is dedicated to its tourism sector, and unlike many other local authorities, is putting a lot of money into it. So what I'm planning to do today really is to give you an update on what we're doing and to try and explain the context of how we're working. So I'm going to be talking about all of these subjects, but the key one there really is about Devonshire Park, where we're standing now. And apologies to those from Eastbourne who've already seen all the slides of our proposals, but I think there's a wider audience who need to have an update as well. But I first wanted to talk about branding and positioning. Just like Hastings, Eastbourne has a problem over its image in many ways outside the area. And what we've got to do is, it's really important to us, is to look at how we brand ourselves and how we try and get away from the image of older people coming here and coach holidays and so on, and the many things that we represent. The biggest problem is that we don't have one single offer. We've got lots of different things. We could brand it as a cultural centre, but then what about the events team and things like Airborne, biggest air show on the coast, or the tennis, when Eastbourne becomes tennis town for a whole week in June. So there are lots of different images and it presents a problem. So what we did is we came up with a strapline about breathing it in. It's about breathing in the atmosphere, and we think we can apply this to lots of different things. So it could be applied to culture, it could be applied to the anticipation of watching a performance in the Congress Theatre, it could be about the excitement of a new opening here in the town, it could be about breathing in the atmosphere of a tennis tournament, lots of different things. The branding that we're using, we're going to be using over a whole range of different media and to cover all the different service areas, because we've actually got 11 different service areas within my tourism and enterprise team. But what I wanted to really talk about was Devonshire Park, and to give you an insight of what's going on there. This is a huge project. It's a £44 million investment by the council. I dare say by the end of the 4-year period it may even be a little bit more than that, but we've got £44 million that
building projects never go over budget.
Well, we've been told that we haven't got a penny more, so we'll have to fund it externally. But just to give you an idea, that's the footprint of where we're looking. We're down in the southwest corner there. It's quite a big site, very mixed use. We've got 3 listed buildings. The one that's most important and significant is actually the Congress Theatre, which is a 2-star listing, Congress next door. But other Victorian and 20th century buildings as well. I thought I'd show you just some of the slides that Levitt Bernstein, the architects, drew up to put forward to our planning application. And it just gives you an idea of what the main project is there. In the middle, you've got that building which doesn't exist at the moment. At the moment, there's a single-storey, low-level 1960s building. What we want to do is create a new welcome building, which will allow us to open up the site and make it more accessible. It'll give us more opportunities for marketing, for conferencing, and we take away 2 of the temporary pavilions which were situated at the back on the tennis courts, which are going to be removed. That's just a plan of the site. The welcome building is going to be on 3 levels. Part of it is underground, and those 2 middle sections there where you've got the halls, are the conference and exhibition halls, which are going to be new. It's going to look something like that. This is just a concept drawing. It's moved on a bit since the planning application, but it's going to be very much a 21st century building, so it's not going to try and copy the Congress. It's going to be independent, but it will have some elements of it. We're looking at that in the design materials that we're using. It's principally going to be a glass frame on the outside. Lots of wood will be used on the interior to match some of the interiors of the Congress, terrazzo flooring and ribbed concrete in parts. And it does what it says on the can really. It's just a welcome building to invite people in and to give them that access to the rest of the site, so that all of these buildings start to work more cohesively as an entity, and that would include the town as well, because we're linked up physically to them as well. What it will do will enable us to use some of the spaces that have been moved around over the years, like the bar areas. Like most local authorities in the 1960s onwards, things got changed around, and the original ethos and character of the building was lost slightly. So a lot of it is about restoring some of that, getting it back to how it would have looked more in its early design in 1963. Not copying exactly the original fittings, but bringing them in so that they match. And at the same time, it enables us to deal with a lot of the technical side of the buildings, dealing with the air conditioning not working properly, seating, making it more comfortable, better lights, better air ventilation, sound equipment, upgrading it for computerised performances, making it much more flexible and better space. Next door we've got the Winter Garden, which is again a Victorian building which was originally a botanical gardens. That's being renovated. It's going to be designed in an Edwardian style, so it's got a slight difference to some of the other buildings. And that's the Crush Hall entrance. We're renovating the Gold Room upstairs, which is another theatre stroke exhibition area. And finally at the end we've got the Devonshire Park Theatre, which is currently covered in scaffolding and is being renovated at the moment. And then the plan is towards the end of the project period, the interior will be renovated as well. That's the time scale. It's all going to be happening over the next 3-4 years in phases, and we'll incorporate a closure period for the Congress Theatre in 2017 and 18. But we're going to move some of the events that would be happening there into the Devonshire Park. So we've got quite a lot of flexibility on the site to keep everything open. Just very quickly going to go on to the Wish Tower. Not the most popular project, but one that is going to support what's going on here. This has been using money from the Peer Fund, and the idea really was to build an iconic restaurant on the site where the existing Western View temporary restaurant is housed, next to the Martello Tower. That's an aerial view map of it, showing the visitor flows. Very early concept designs were showing this sort of beach hut style of roof, which we weren't so happy with. We thought it looked a bit industrial, a bit more like a factory. So we went back to the architects and we said to come back with some better designs, new designs. So what they've done now is they've changed that roof structure, so it's asymmetrical, but it is going to give us a very good value for money restaurant, high-end restaurant hopefully, and the process for that is ongoing at the moment in terms of expressions of interest. These are just some impressions of the theme we wanted to have, the exposure to the sea, the sort of open plan interiors, modern design, and again the timescale 2016 to 18. This will be open for business in early 2018. Another facility really to complement the offer we've got and hopefully to match some of the audiences which the Cultural Trail will give us. We will be linking to other cultural projects. There's a whole range of things happening, much smaller projects, mainly in the Devonshire Park area, east of the pier. We've got new iconic beach huts which are going to be installed this year. We've got work on a cultural hub that's developing along Seaside, the road just behind the seafront. Restoring our buildings, trying to create an environment that will attract artists. Working very much with our digital partners. Lots of creative industries are based in the town. Trying to get those to work together. There's investment in the park, Prince's Park, a new museum which is going to be developed next to the Redoubt. A whole range of works, there's pier sculpture, work to restore the camera obscura on the pier. All of this is going to add to the offer, and most of it is cultural based. It's a heritage trail which was talked about earlier as well. So lots of work going on. And at the same time, we're going to be working with the County Council. Sally Staples is here tonight, and she and I are going to be working to develop a cultural strategic approach. Now, I've used a strange terminology there. It's not going to be a cultural strategy. It's going to be a cultural approach which will embrace all those very high-end projects that we're working on, so that we get linkage between what's happening here, what's happening in Devonshire Park, the Creative Hub, and all of those other external partners, so that we have a vibrant cultural hub within Eastbourne, works with the rest of the county, will enable us to look at opportunities for funding through the local enterprise partnership, and will tie everything together. It's not going to be an all-embracing cultural strategy that includes everybody. It's the idea of it is really that it's a working document that will help us secure funding and show how we do work together at the top end. Just to go back very briefly to the branding, the way it's going to be applied is going to be different colours for different themes. So the cultural theme is going to be predominantly purple, and we're going to be using that throughout our new marketing materials. Just some of the ways we're going to be working. We've got a brochure, new brochure that came out a couple of months back, a new destination brochure, and we're just embarking on a new £100,000 project for marketing. Very excited about this, which is going to be focusing very much on the London South East market. And it's something I think that will be of interest to all of you because it's very similar to the markets you're going to be going for as well. ABC1s and London South East counties. Okay, I think I've done less than my 10 minutes, so thank you.